So, looks like you got your wish here. Jason Bulkowski playing Infect, and Nick Carlson on the 4-color pod.
And Jason's list here is, it appears to be one card different in the main deck from the Gregor Meretic list.
And what card is that?
He has one extra mental misstep, and he has taken out one Viridian Corruptor from the main.
Okay. So no Viridian Corruptor's main, looks like.
I think he might miss that in this matchup.
Yeah, Nick's deck here, very hard to read some of these cards because the copy machine didn't seem to copy it very well, but I think we'll get the gist of it.
Yeah, this is almost impossible to read.
Okay, apparently we were on the wrong match. People at home that know those players were like, that's not them. Of course, I don't know what they look like, so.
Okay. This is Nyapod.
Is it just
Nyapod. The blue in it is Phyrexian Metamorph, which doesn't really count.
Fair enough, okay.
Nyapod. Oh, wait. I see an island. It's really hard to read this list. So there are, never mind. It is the 4-color pod, my bad.
So turn 1, Avacyn's Pilgrim gets misstepped from Jason Bulkowski, who led with an Inkmoth Nexus. So he's got the opportunity here to already bring the pain here. Everything all right here? What's going on? The Cavern is naming human, obviously, for the to cast the Avacyn's Pilgrim turn 1. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, obviously that doesn't make any sense that he misstepped it.
Yep.
I think that's what the discussion's about. Maybe they're having a discussion.
I think perhaps that there was not an explicit naming, but then he could not have cast it in the first place.
Right.
And he's trying to get his misstep back.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's fair. You just drop a creature into play and they misstep it. You're not, without pointing out. I think that was a big thing, big controversy back when Cavern was first printed about, clearly stating that you're using it.
So I think what we're going to hear is that it's gone. Yeah.
See, I actually, vehemently disagree with that, but we're past it now. So in with the Inkmoth Nexus.
In for 1 poison, and a gut shot then to kill the Pilgrim.
Yeah.
And Jason can just say to himself, it's just like I mulligan. That's all that happened.
Yeah.
I lost 2 life.
Yeah. It sucked. I mean, I just feel like we should be encouraging clarity in the game, not the option to not be clear. And I think that's really sums up my opinion on it. So, a second Avacyn's Pilgrim for Nick, and Jason goes all aggro, Inkmoth Nexus with a Rancor. Essentially like using the Rancor as a sorcery that just keeps coming back.
Right. Now, if you watch Stepan Sukic's his interview from the World Cup, he says that Inkmoth Nexus is the best creature in the deck.
I believe it. Play it for free.
And we see a bunch of empty mana here.
So Jason here goes with Forest and...
Now remember that Avacyn's Pilgrim off to the side is dead. So there's not 4 mana hanging out. It's only 3.
Only 3 there, yeah. So here we go with Activate Inkmoth, enchant it with Rancor. Rancor, I think is the correct pronunciation.
Take 3, go to 7. Now, when you hear Rancor or Rancor, do you think of Star Wars?
Sometimes.
Okay, just
the
curious.
funny thing is,
game. It's over.
I know that maybe this is blasphemy, but I was playing with the card Rancor before I saw Star Wars. So I didn't see.
Wow, it's cool that the camera's on those guys so that they didn't get to see me hit you in the face.
Yeah, that hurt.
Sorry about that.
No, I actually, I'm trying to think. It was right around the same time. I saw Star Wars in the late '90s, right around when Rancor was printed.
Right.
So it would have been like 99. It was right around the same time.
Right. For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan, joined by Joey Pasco. We're here in the Mile High City. It's Denver, Colorado. This is SCG Live. This is the Star City Games Live Open Series. And Jason Bulkowski is running the Croatian Infect list, -1 card, and playing against Nick Carlson, who's playing 4-color pod, Ink Treader pod, if you like.
Ink Treader pod. That's an obscure reference. I think.
It is obscure. Less obscure, though, I think, than some legacy deck names.
So I like the looks of this Infect list. Obviously, taking game 1 in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, I actually,
even off of a misplay, a mental misstep that Jason had by trying to cast.
Nice.
Mental misstep on.
I was doing some exploration of Infect a couple of weeks back.
Exploration's not legal in Standard.
True. And I got one thing very wrong, I think. I had reduced the number of Titanic growths to almost none. I was running 1 and sometimes 2. That was wrong of me, and I apologize to Infect players out there everywhere for playing so few Titanic growths. Now that I have played 4 Titanic growths, I see the light. Actually, I do in every way want to credit Gregor for that, just because I met Gregor maybe 4 or 5 years ago at a Pro Tour, and he was an incredibly impressive player. And so when I saw what he was playing, before the results were even in, I got a glance at his list, and I'm like, ooh, this is a saucy one. Now, this is just conjecture.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that if Jason Bulkowski wins this match, I would be unsurprised, and he's ahead right now, to see him in the top 8 or even win the thing.
Yeah.
Because I do think that right now that this Croatian Infect list, and I'm calling it that because this is clearly the Croatian list, I think it's the best deck in Standard right now.
Is there really a lot of room, though, to play? I mean, if you're going to go mono-green Infect, is there really, not to take anything away from Croatia and their list,
yeah.
I just mean, like, there's really not a whole lot of ways the deck can go. I mean, I would imagine, like, I can bring up the list from Kansas City a couple weeks ago. I would imagine it's very similar as well.
They're very similar. One of the keys is not going overboard with Green Sun Zenith, and then only running a very small amount of the Blight Mamba. Blight Mamba is a card you want in your list to Green Suns for. You really do want it, but running 1 is just fine. A sideboard 1 in the right matchups, that's what Stepan Sukic did, and Gregor did not do that. I actually don't know that you need it in the sideboard, but sideboarding 1 is an option. But going more than the 2 Blight Mambas, I think, is a mistake.
So turn 1 Birds from Nick Carlson, and a turn 1 Glistener Elf from Jason Bulkowski.
Yeah, there's not much room, but there are a lot of things people do to play with it. Ranger Skiles, Gataxian Probes.
Right, I'm looking at Nick Marriott's list here, but we'll look at that in a few minutes.
Glistener Elf dies to Arc Trail. By the way, I think Arc Trail's time is over. I don't think Arc Trail's good right now.
No? Oh, it's good right there.
Oh, yeah. But so I think Galvanic Blast would have been a little bit better, actually.
Sure. And a Forest and Glistener Elf number 2 from Jason. And a Rancor.
It's so exciting seeing Rancor index, and I actually think Rancor might be the actual best card from M13.
It's just, I guess it depends on how you define best card. Is it like the one that goes into most lists, the one that has the biggest impact in the list it's in, the one that's, you know what I mean? Like,
I think I would define it as the one that makes new things possible.
Okay.
I don't think this deck was real before Rancor existed, and I don't think that Mono Green Dungrove was real before it existed.
So there's a Phyrexian Metamorph from Nick. Not sure what it copied.
I'm pretty sure it's on the Glistener Elf.
I would imagine that.
And look at this. He lays the Malira just, in essence, to make sure that... oh, that was a bird. He copied a bird. Wow. Never mind.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, we didn't quite catch what he copied, but
I guess
in
it
the meantime,
must have been a bird.
and it chumped, whatever it was, it got in the way of the Glistener Elf and just chumped there and did not leave a -1/-1 counter.
It was the elf.
Which
okay,
would've-
wait a
yeah.
second then. If it is the elf,
Shouldn't the
then
elf?
his guy should be dead.
Yeah,
Oh,
Malira
Malira.
keeps the
But he
counter.
should still
That's
be
what
dead,
it was.
right?
Okay.
Because he does not have. It's still 1 damage.
What do you? So the bird. I mean, the elf. It was a 1/1, right? It would have dealt its damage in the form of 1/1 counters.
But
And
it loses infect. Malira turns off infect.
Oh, so you're saying it was just damage? Okay.
Yeah. That's.
Yeah, that's not. I'm not quite clear on that myself. So it should have been a 3/1 Glistener Elf, right?
Yeah.
Being blocked by a 1/1.
Yes.
Non-infect, right? So the Glistener Elf should have died.
But it still deals damage. It does not
Right.
have
It
infect
just
anymore.
loses infect. Okay. Well, in the meantime, I think I don't know if that's something we're communicating with the judges about real quick. In the meantime, a Blight Mamba has been added to the board, and a 3rd Glistener Elf from Jason. So, for those of you just joining us during this little break here in the match, I'm Joey Pasco, and I'm in the booth with Adrian Sullivan, and we're coming to you live from the StarCityGames.com Open Series here in Denver, Colorado, watching Jason Bulkowski and his Infect deck take on Nick Carlson and 4-color Pods. Jason on the up a game here, and a little bit of confusion here surrounding a Malira and a Glistener Elf, both on Jason's side of the board.
For those of you who don't know what Malira does, Malira reads, first it's a legendary 2/2. It says that you can't get poison counters. Creatures you control can't have -1/-1 counters upon them, and creatures your opponents control lose infect. So Nick Carlson had a copy earlier of the Glistener Elf. So when Malira comes into play, Malira turns off the infect on the opponent's Glistener Elf. So when the 3/1 Glistener Elf from Jason Bulkowski attacks, it still deals infect damage, but it's taking 1 damage yet from the other Glistener Elf. So even though it can't have tokens put on it, or sorry, counters placed on it, that creature no longer has infect.
And so I think they're trying to figure it out. But I mean, I don't know if it's too far. I mean, I wouldn't imagine. It's still his turn, right?
Yeah, this is after the attack.
Right. So after the attack, he played Blight Mamba, another Glistener Elf. All that I feel like, right? You just put the Rancor in your hand and the Glistener Elf in a graveyard, right?
Now, I think that there's actually a bug on Magic Online with some of this stuff too, by the way.
So you think maybe that it's a Magic Online bug that's confusing?
I think so, honestly, because I've been playing the Infect list online a lot, and there are things that happen where I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, what just happened. And
so I guess we're getting a ruling here.
yeah, it'll just be a moment.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm going to say, though, Nick, before the Malira came down, Nick's choice to use a Phyrexian Metamorph to copy the Glistener Elf was very good, because what that lets him do is have a creature that, regardless of whether Jason pumps it up with a pump spell, at least what'll happen is that the Infect counter will be able to, like, kill off the Glistener Elf after the combat's over, so long as Nick isn't dead.
So,
but then the Malira coming down...
Chris Lansdale mentioning that it's too late to change it at this point. I would,
It's the same turn, right?
Yeah,
We've gotten to the point where Nick Carlson is untapping.
Yeah, I thought at this point, yeah, like it's...
No decisions have been...
Is it? I mean, if Nick Carlson is untapping, I guess it's not the same turn. You know, like where are we exactly? But is it?
Oh, now we're talking about turns. I think it looks like.
Did some of those motions? Did it look like they're trying to discuss passing turns and things? But
I'm just checking my little cheat sheet on lapsing effects. I don't think I see any lapsing effects. So.
I don't really think it's a lapsing trigger thing.
That's a joke, by the way.
Yeah.
So I was talking with Bob Maher actually about lapsing effects and the effect that they have on tournament play. And one of the things that he was saying is that he's like, well, it's kind of good because it does not. And again, just to be clear, this is not a lapsing situation.
So completely off topic.
Yeah. I just because I went with that joke. Just
why not? Yeah. I'm not trying to stop.
But yeah, like that he actually kind of feels pretty good about the changes that have made this lapsing effects thing happen. Because before you were punishing the honest people who would say you have to untap that, you have to do this, you know, and now you don't punish those people anymore. But the thing I find kind of interesting though is that sometimes I have to ask judges during the course of a tournament whether or not I have to inform my opponent about something because I'm not sure.
And we're back to the match, and it appears that the Glistener Elf has survived a lethal attack somehow.
Wow, that's exciting.
I guess that's the way it went. Couldn't back it up, and Nick just played an Elvish Visionary and passed the turn back. So
I would be unsurprised to see a Restoration Angel come into play during combat.
Yeah, that would not be shocking.
Now, the reason that we kept going, too much had happened to back up, essentially.
So it was a game rule violation.
There is the Elf being bounced by the Visionary, or sorry, the Visionary being blinked by the Angel. That's what I meant to say.
Yep.
And we got some blocks going on. Looking for the best blocks. I think we have found them.
Yeah, Angel gets in front of the Rankered Elf, and Visionary gets in front of the Unrankered Elf.
Now, a Titanic Growth would end the game right here on the spot. I don't think we have one, though.
I like the attack with the Melira, you know?
Right.
I'm not on the damage plan, but why not? You know, every point, it could matter.
We see an Apostle's Blessing to make the Glistener Elf not die. This will turn the Angel into an 0-1. So there's 2 regular damage, 1 poison damage, and it's a lot of death.
Yeah, do you think, I mean, if I'm Jason, do you say, all right, so you flash in Restoration Angel, right? My opponent flashes in Restoration Angel, I have Apostle's Blessing. Do I stop him? Do I stop him before blocks and go and then think about maybe using Apostle's Blessing before blocks on that Glistener Elf?
I don't think so, actually.
No, you're just fine with making the Angel into an 0-1? All right, so looks like Nick Carlson should be at 18 life and I believe 7 poison. Yeah, there it is, 7 poison. He did get hit with the Melira, right?
I believe 16 life. Oh my
goodness. That's a card. That's a card.
Oh my goodness. That Ichor Claw Mirror looks like it might have been a little overly ambitious now. Now, to be fair, there's still a Rancor plus an Inkmoth Nexus with no real defense to speak of.
Yeah, he's not in the worst position after that Bonfire of the Damned came down and cleared his board.
And that's the kill. Right there. That's the kill.
So, yeah, that should be it. Activate Inkmoth, put a Rancor on it, and
4
swing.
trample.
4 with trample.
Oh, wait, no, he can double block. He has to double block.
He does,
Goes
yeah.
to 9 poison.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I wasn't thinking about the double block.
And the Rancor returns. Back at you, Nick Carlson.
Wow. 1 poison.
I think I see a Restoration Angel in hand for Nick Carlson. Oh, Elishnorn, 1 mana short.
Wow.
And that is it.
He had the 7th land. It came into play tapped. So,
the dangers of extra colors. It does make your mana a little bit more fragile.
Yeah, for sure.
One thing also to note in that article that I wrote about the World Cup decks, the 4-color pod lists, as popular as they are, they were heavily outperformed by Nyapod and by Bantpod.